is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be reacting to an ESPN article, and I want to react to this. I want to break down this article. You're not going to see the article on the screen, but I probably will put the link in the description or in the comments so you guys can read it by yourself, but there's really not a lot for me to show you. But the reason I'm making this video is to kind of just inform you guys, give you guys more information than what ESPN always gives you. See, ESPN, CBS Sports, NBC Sports, they're these major companies that put out this information. They put out so much NFL news, and then once in a while they'll touch on your favorite team, especially Lions, because, you know, we're not talking about a lot. So they'll touch on our team just a few times, give us a little bit of news. And for most fans, they're looking at that and saying, yes, news from ESPN, and they read it and they buy into whatever they say. And I get it, because, you know, they're such a major company, you don't get a lot of news. So when you get it, you're excited, you see it, awesome. But they also don't give you enough information. Honestly, they really don't give you enough information. So this article was put out today that said this: ESPN, Lions pass rush need one of NFL's biggest offseason missed opportunities. So I'm reading this and I'm saying, okay, I see where you're coming from, sort of. I see where you're coming from, right? Kind of. Okay, so ESPN says this. Because if you go on Twitter and you look up Lions fans, they do a lot of polls. Lions fans love doing polls, man. Hey, y'all love doing polls. There's always polls that say, hey, what's your biggest concern for the 2020 season? And every time I see that poll, which one wins? The same one. Lions pass rush. The Lions won't get enough pass rush. And I've done videos on this before, but I really need to break down this article because I feel like these people aren't giving you enough information to really understand what you're reading here. And they're not giving you the right information either, okay? They're giving you right for 2019, but not anything deeper than that. So you're telling me that was one of the biggest missed opportunities. And on paper, you would probably say, just looking at 2019, that's a very big missed opportunity. Because for most teams, a team that is really bad against the pass, a team that doesn't get a lot of pressure, you're probably looking at that and saying, okay, statistically, looking at that, we need to add pass rushers. Well, we didn't do enough of that. And I guess that's probably what ESPN just looked at here, because he said this, in quotes: maybe adding outside linebacker Dante Fowler Jr. was unlikely to happen in free agency given the multi-year deal he signed with the Falcons. Could Detroit have landed Vic Beasley Jr. or Leonard Floyd, each a former top 10 pick? Both signed one-year deals, okay? So all of a sudden he's making it sound like it's a cheap deal. And what about Jadeveon Clowney? The veteran is still available. So I sit back and I look at that and say, hold up. I see you touched on the 2019 stats. Good. I'm glad you guys gave them those numbers. But you kind of just leave it there. You just looked at 2019. You didn't bring up 2018 whatsoever. You didn't bring up on where these players would fit in this defense if we did this. They didn't give you guys enough information on this. And what makes me mad is that a lot of people are going to look at this and just completely agree with it blindly, because this is what ESPN puts out and it's not their fault. I know most of you guys look deeper in this and you guys know, because if you have followed over here, man, hey, we know the information. We got information on deck. But most people are going to be looking at this and saying, oh, that makes sense. Oh, Lions should add more pass rush. Now I'm concerned about it. And everybody goes and votes. All those Lions fans will say, well, my biggest concern is pass rush. But that's because of articles like this. Because of articles like this, we don't get enough information. Okay? Hold up. I just clicked the plus, but I just clicked the, go back. Website, go back. So I'm looking at this and saying, okay, I see where they're coming from if 2019 was this thing. But 2018 is a year that you can't just not mention. And the reason I said that is because Matt Patricia was still here. You didn't mention 2018. You also didn't mention why the Lions didn't get to the quarterback last season. You didn't bring that up. You just said they didn't do it. So most of the time, you're going to initially, you know, put that to, okay, well, we didn't get enough pressure. Maybe we didn't blitz enough, or we don't have enough pass rushers. But that's really not completely the story here. See, you have to look at 2018 because Matt Patricia has been here for more than 1 year. He's been here for 2 years. And if you look at 2018, the Lions were good against the pass. The Lions could get pressure. The Lions were high up in the league in sacks. The Lions have 43 sacks in 2018 compared to last season's 28. All right? 28. You had 15 more sacks. Now, most people hear that number and say, hold up, oh, that's because they probably blitzed more. But that's not the case either. Nope, they didn't blitz more. They did not blitz more in 2018. Actually, they blitzed less in 2018. So now you're probably saying, what the heck are you talking about? How could they blitz less and have 15 more sacks and have a better pass defense? Is it because they have better pass rushers? Well, maybe, but not really. See, they didn't blitz more, so adding a guy like Vic Beasley or Leonard Floyd, who's going to be a linebacker, you're going to have to blitz those guys. But every scheme is different. For some schemes, adding a guy like Leonard Floyd or Vic Beasley could be very beneficial. But for how Matt Patricia does things, adding a linebacker that you have to blitz won't help your pass rush if you don't blitz, because that's what they do. That's what they do. They blitz. That's all they do. He's not going on the D-line and consistently coming every time. See, the Lions only bring usually consistently 3 players. Every once in a while, you'll see a fourth. 3 to 4 players. That means you are outnumbered by the offensive line pretty much every time. The Lions don't blitz very often. They do at times, and it may actually go up in the future, but they don't do it very often. See, what usually happens is the Lions' defensive tackle, their nose tackle, comes all the time. Then you got the 2 defensive linemen, usually. You have a guy like Trey Flowers now, and, whoever it is next year could be a guy like Deshaun Hand, could be a guy like Nick Williams, whoever it could be on the other end position, maybe Romeo Cora. And then you have your jack roll, who usually comes. And in the past, which they bring up as Devon Kennard, who they got rid of, is that guy that was always coming off the edge. He comes every time. He had 7 sacks. Yeah, that sounds great, but he comes every single snap. Okay, every single snap this guy's coming, he's got 7 sacks. It's okay, it's solid. It's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And it was surprising when they cut him to me. So that's usually what you do. So adding a guy like Vic Beasley Jr. or adding a guy like Leonard Floyd, please tell us where he would fit on this defense. If we go off of what we've seen, I mean, you can hypothesize that, hey, the Lions will blitz more because they focused on the secondary. That's cool. But you also have to keep in mind that what would it mean to sign those players? See, they say they signed 2 one-year deals and they just leave it at that. But they don't also tell you how big that deal was. And they don't tell you how much money the Lions actually have. Some people just don't understand how much money we actually have. And people will just say, well, let's just go get them. But you can't always just go get players. You have to make decisions. You can't just get every player that you want. You have to make decisions. And the Lions have made a lot of those decisions. So maybe if you're saying, okay, the Lions should have not gotten Desmond Trufant, because right here they say this. They address the secondary after trading Darius Slay, signing Desmond Trufant and selecting Jeffrey Okudah. But then he says this, yes, I understand it's a two-way street here with pass rush and coverage. Okay, hold up. You understand that. You need both to win. And the Lions did add 2 cornerbacks with man coverage traits, right? That's a huge factor. Jeff Okudah and Desmond Trufant after trading Darius Slay. But without consistent pass rush, especially considering a defensive scheme in Detroit, there's the scheme. I still have concerns about the Lions' ability to create pressure. But hold up. Lions' defensive scheme, and you added man-to-man corners, which ultimately, like you said this, not me. These are your words, not mine. They both go together. It's a two-way street. They go together. That helps the pass rush. And you didn't break up 2018, which is the same scheme we had. It's actually, if anything, not bringing any pressure. But in 2018, we still got pressure. 43 sacks, 8th in pass defense, and we didn't bring anybody. We brought less players in 2018. See, they don't give you that information. But that's what makes me mad, is that they don't give you that. And then they say, okay, we'll just sign Leonard Floyd or Vic Beasley Jr. Lions could have did that. But they don't realize that if you do that, you don't sign Desmond Trufant most likely. And the reason you don't sign Desmond Trufant is because Desmond Trufant was 2 years, $20 million. And Leonard Floyd got 10 to 13 million for 1 year. Okay, it can go up to 13. And Vic Beasley Jr. got 1 year, 10 million. So if you sign that dude to that deal, say for example, they accept that, which they may not, but say example, they accept that. Now you're in a position where you're probably not going to get Desmond Trufant. And the reason I say that you're probably not going to get Desmond Trufant is because projected after everything is over, with what we have right now, Lions will have $7 to $10 million in cap space. So hold up. We can get Vic Beasley Jr. or it's Desmond Trufant. So you're telling me either get a pass rusher who you have to blitz them, but you don't blitz. You haven't shown us the first year you blitz. You may do it more next year. I don't know. But from what the Lions have shown us before and what they did this offseason, it could tell you that maybe they won't blitz. Maybe they won't blitz more. You have to blitz those guys if you have them. I could see you saying Lions should have added defensive linemen, not outside linebackers, a D lineman. Lions should go add Everson Griffin. Possibly a Jabal Sheard, because that's something that's realistic because they had the money to do it. But then you bring up Jadeveon Clowney like it's possible for the Lions to go find Clowney. The veteran is still available. He's available for a reason, y'all. Not everybody has the money to go give him, okay? And if we did, I would be shocked. And the reason I say that, Bob Quinn wants to save some of his money. One, we haven't won recently, so he's not going to even accept our offer. He's declined $20 million. We don't have that. We can't just go throw out $20 million. We don't got that, man. We don't got that. See, they don't tell you all the information. They don't give you all the information, and that's what drives me crazy, is that they make these things sound like, oh, the Lions did bad this offseason. And this is why you see those rankings that say the Lions had a bad offseason because they didn't address pass rush, when in reality, we didn't need to address pass rush as much as we needed to address secondary. If you bring up the scheme and then not understand what the scheme is, then how in the world are you going to make an article like this? You literally brought up considering the defensive scheme in Detroit. Let's consider the defensive scheme in Detroit. They don't blitz. They play secondary. You ever watch how Lions got sacks in 2018? Go watch the 2018 season and watch how they got sacks. You come back and tell me. Was it because they blitzed a ton? Here and there. But it was mainly of coverage sacks. It was mainly coverage sacks because they usually didn't bring enough guys to outnumber that offensive line. That would mean you usually have to bring 6 guys. Usually 6 to outnumber an offensive line because there's always 5 offensive linemen. Lions usually bring 3 to 4. So the thing is, people don't realize that it's worked before. It worked in 2018. It didn't work in 2019. And the Lions did address the secondary. So they're going to get more coverage sacks. They should get more coverage sacks. The only way that what you're saying could make sense to me is if you said this. Here's what the Lions should have done. They should have not drafted Julian Okwara. They should have taken the 3rd round pick and drafted another cornerback with Jeffrey Okudah, because obviously they want to stack the secondary position, which you said is okay. And then instead of getting Okwara, they should have went out and signed a pass rusher. Yes, I could see that, because then you don't have to sign Desmond Trufant. But then you're relying on 2 rookie cornerbacks and a 2nd-year cornerback to really hold it down. Is that what you really want? They just don't give you enough information, y'all. The thing is, many people are going to look at this and say, well, that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, because schematically the Lions don't bring pressure. They don't do it very often. And then you're going to tell me, well, Jarrad Davis had 6 sacks, so yes, they do. They don't. Okay, Jarrad Davis may have had 6 sacks. He may have had 6 sacks in 2018. He also played in 16 games, all right? And in 2019, he played in 5 less games. Maybe he plays in more games, he may have more sacks. Thing is, they got to give you more information than what they're giving you here. They didn't bring up the fact that Snacks Harrison had one of the worst years of his career. They don't bring up the fact that Darius Slay won it out. So what the Lions did at cornerback was an addition by subtraction just based off of that. And then you added man-to-man corners that are ultimately going to help you get coverage sacks, which we've seen in 2018 works. It's happened before. You can't just throw that year out the window, because that's the scheme. That's what he does defensively. Maybe he does blitz next year. But you can't just say the Lions should have just did this and then not give us away how they do it, because you got to make things. If you're going to just go sign somebody, how are you going to sign him? You're going to probably lose something else if you do it. So I just want to give you guys this, man. That was just my little rant, man. This stuff just gets under my skin. It's not necessarily that I don't like other people's opinions, because I do. I love other people's opinions. That's what makes sports fun. But at the same time, give them enough information. Give the fans, your ESPN, this is all you do. Give them enough information to look at this and say, okay, I agree with you or I disagree with you. How can you literally be based on sports and bring up just 2019 and just say, oh, well, you just wouldn't sign this guy? That's a big missed opportunity. But in reality, how is that missed opportunity if you're not going to blitz anyways? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with him? I could have seen him. This could have made sense. This article would have made a lot of sense if you'd have, brought more information. If you said, well, here's what Lions should do. Lions need to go get a defensive lineman. They should have got a defensive end to pair with Trey Flowers. Okay, I can see that. How are you going to do that? Now, how do you do that? Who do you go get? Tell me something like that. Don't tell me this stuff, man. Come on, give me more than this. Give me more. At least tell them what the contracts were. You're going to tell them and bring up Vic Beasley Jr., Leonard Floyd, but not even tell them how much they signed for? $10 million a year? I don't care if it's 1 year or 50 years. $10 million a year? That's a lot of money. I'm going to leave it there. Let me hear your thoughts, comments below. Thank you, Brad, for watching, and I'm out.